Hello, Mr. Halbert here. We're going to start with the goose. These are spun cotton animal ornaments I'm making. I will have these on sale. You can go on my Instagram and contact me there, or my Facebook, or my new blue sky that I don't remember the name of, but I'll try to remember to put at the end or on one of the other two. Right now, we're at top them off our glue mixture. It's 1 part glue to 3 parts water. Just cheap white school glue, nothing super special. I'm gonna start by making a rough form. I'm really getting started with doing these, so I'm trying to figure out how I want the wire and how I want to do it and what works best. So getting some early on ones with these, but I've just balled up some aluminum foil, really cheap aluminum foil too, and cheap kind of baling wire that I'm pushing through it to make the neck and now the legs. Ball the wire up, add a little bit more over the top, kind of thicken it up, and lock in those wires. Plus, start out get the starts of our neck. I'll add a little bit more on. Trim the feet off so they're more manageable. Here we go. I'm gonna move some wire in now. I think it start working. Yep. Start working on the turkey thighs, turkey leg, or not turkey. Oh, should have done turkey. Goose thighs, goose legs. Just getting it all built up. Nice little base to work on. Um, I know there are people who do this. This is spun cotton. These I'm all using cotton balls. I've gotten some now, but I hadn't gotten the actual big roll slash sheet of the cotton. But working with what I've got, a little bit of hot glue to lock that head in there and get it in the position I want it to, so it's not just wobbling around. All right, now we're gonna use some tape. The tape I'm using is over an inch, almost 2 inches wide. I bought it because I do custom painting on golf carts, and I used it for some masking on some spots. But having said that, I do need to get, which I need to get some for watercolors too. So I'll try to find something that's around a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit thinner if I can locally. But we work with what we've got for right now. Yeah, just keep wrapping around. Lets the glue gives the glue something better to stick onto, which therefore holds the rolled cotton or spun cotton on. So it all works out better. But yeah, just kind of wrap it up as best we can. You don't necessarily need total coverage, but a good amount's a good amount. Bend the feet a bit, get them posed. Best off the tail, start top. So here's one of the first things. We're gonna make the loop in the top. I made this too small. It is straight up too small. This baling wire I'm using doesn't really fit through it when I get there. But all right, so here we go. Layer of cotton on the back, a little bit of glue, and then you just paint over it. It's a little bit like paper mache. I've done needle felting. This is a new one I've discovered recently, the last few weeks. So I'm really into it at the moment. Although once I finish up the batch I'm working on now, the next set I'm working on, I do have to take a little break from it. I've got a commission. I need to get a thing in for a call for an artist, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Just using it, wrapping around, getting it where it'll stick, making sure the top of that hanging ring is. I will say, when you're making these, if you can go ahead and have some wire stuck for your where you want the ring to be before you do your cotton, even start on it, it will be a lot easier to work on. Also, you may want to do it fairly early if you can. If you do like me and you tend to squish your aluminum foil a bit too much like when I do pencil drawing, I've got these kind of big, heavy meat hands. So I tend to write and draw really heavy with pencils. And then when I do this aluminum foil, I think it compacts it probably a little bit too much. Another thing to work on. All right, there we go. Like I said, just a little bit of the thin floor wire is what I end up using for the hanger. I'm also going to give him some glue around his legs. They were kind of wobbling around. Suck a pit in to really just see how it held. Yeah, so we're going to play around with the position of the sticky out feet bits. Thought about doing more of toes. I decided, no, we'll just do something simple. Get those, trim off the excess, and then lay out another layer. I'm going to wrap the thighs here. And I do, do the feet. They end up getting these little booties. They were fine, but I don't know. In my head, I wanted something more. So I'll get them done. Sit, lay it out, lay some glue on, sit on top, try a few different ways to get it coated. This works okay, although it was a bit off symmetry, even though this thing isn't near as symmetrical as my brain really wants it to be. But that's the way we work. So yeah, coat the paint on, or not the paint, the our water glue mixture. All right, so we let him dry. We've got him out. See right here, I decide these feet aren't working. I try to shape them. I just end up pulling the cotton off as much as possible. I don't think it was quite dry yet, so it wasn't super hard to get off. Undo the thighs. I'm just going to go back over and I'm going to rewrap the leggies. Thighs? I think calves maybe? Look up. I notice a lot of fuzz or feathers and down, hiding out the eggs or the bits of these legs. But anyway, so we go back over. I'm just wrap them up, re-glue it. I'm just leave the feet bare wire on this one. They turned out okay. As we get better, we may be able to add more. Here we go. A little bit more. I'm working on getting the face fairly decently, but here in a second you'll see I decide, no, this isn't working. None of it, it wasn't doing it. There was something not quite right about it. So I decided to come back here in a second after I let it dry for a minute. So first I'm going to add on some bulk. It was a bit too slender looking, so I decided to add a few bits of cotton ball here to give him more of some wings, add a bit width to the body, give some girth, like a big old girthy boy. And you just go over and a bit of glue down, some cotton glue over it. Do make sure you want to get a fairly decent coating. You don't have to like super saturate if you don't want to. That's pretty much part of it. A little bit of cotton on the back, kind of fill up the rump area. And there you go. And then I think we're almost there. Here we go. Bye, beak. Let's cut off the front of his face. Sometimes you just kind of have to start over. You just got to see me there. Use the handle of the brush as kind of a sculpting, smoothing tool. I have tools. I just have to figure out where I put my sculpting tools. And now I'm just going to kind of wet the cotton or, inundate it with the glue mixture. And then I'm just going to kind of roughly sculpt it and shape it. We'll give him a bit of a wrap around, smooth it out on his face. I would say there is a little bit of problem working with this because it will stick, just straight up stick to your fingers. It'll get everywhere. I've seen a few people using egg whites. That's what it is. Egg whites. Kind of keep their hands slick. I may try that in the future and get it for crafts, but that still seems a little bit like food wastage. Add a little bit more to the front. Another lob. Just kind of shape out his bill. So yeah, geese have bills, ducks have bills. Sure, swans. Luckily, hopefully they'll get work. Pay them. Ha, bad joke. All right, here we go. Now we're giving it its first coat. It's the primer of just plain white acrylic. This is actually artist acrylic. I thought I had craft paint, but I don't have near as much as that. And I really don't have any like whites or basic colors. I've got like various metallics and flexes and glitters. Stick a bit of the white, stick my hanger back through so I can better control his head. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to start base coating the layers of feathers. They're about white mixed with some, I think it's raw umber and burnt sienna. Just some basic kind of earthy brown colors, just kind of give us a nice. It ends up being a little bit more gray over the long run. I tend to lean more into the sienna and the white. But yeah, and even though I'm giving base coat, I'm going to go ahead and start highlighting and shadowing some areas, kind of like blocking in. I need to set up my camera, I think, a little bit better. If I can get it behind me, maybe a little bit over my shoulder, so you're getting more of it looking at it, because you'll see I keep going out of frame. One, I do have the camera pulled in a lot closer than I normally do. I fixed that, not in this series, but in the next project, so I'll pull it back up. That helps a little bit. But yeah, then we're going to go in, we're going to have some dark colors. I'm looking at a reference photo, got on my iPad out of view. But yeah, just kind of going over little bits of color, just dark, trying to follow what I've got. Even a bit of lighten up his tum-tum and his chest a bit. I'm going to go under and really lighten up the bottom. It's got a bright white tail. Now I'm going to add these stripes in pretty thick and then let it dry. And I go back in with a much darker, much more of the scene. I think I had a little blue in too. Just kind of like more define those lines. So they're going. So do a thick line and come back in and paint around it. Just building up layers, kind of shaping out the wings. giving them some better contour, going through and adding a little bit of feathering. Like the patterns. I should have switched over to my thinner flat brush, though. I do admit that. Once again, we're doing it and we're learning. A little bit more white on the booty, so it really shows out. And yeah, just keep going. One bit, a little bit at a time. I am kind of smearing on. I need to start using more of a variety of brushes. But lighten up the neck and head, giving some of those rough feathers on them. It's kind of the layers and lines. All right, move down. Now we're going to do a little bit of yellow. Orange. It's metallic yellow and metallic red. These are ones I get my regular acrylics. These are just the ones I buy. Painting the beak, a little bit more detail on the body. It almost looks like carved stone if you've ever really kind of roughly carved a rock. That's fine. I do like the way it turned out, adding some texture to the neck. And finally, we're going to just doing single dots. See, I do have other brushes, but single dots for the black. All right, so this is the glitter from the last one. I just ended up having it all in the bowl. Cut the whole goose in some white glue. And then we're going to hold him over and using our spoon and just scoop up our glitter and spoon it on top. A little bit of shakes to get the excess off. And then here you go. Yeah, he's covered with glitter. He's all painted. Looks good and sparkly on the tree. And there you go. The goose. And now we're going to move on to the goat. When I first got the ideas for doing this, the two animals I really thought about doing were a goose and a goat. I had a few other ideas that I'm going to work through. Like I said, I've got some other projects going that I need to work on before then, but I want to start working on some more animals and critters and other stuff. I have other ideas for next year when Thanksgiving. I always discover these projects right before the holidays. They'd be useful for us. I don't have time to do a lot to begin with. But yeah, we're going to start with the goat. Yeah, okay, I hadn't originally had that antler. I think I put another one in. I was thinking of that being the hanger. Doesn't end up being that way. That becomes one of the two, not antlers, but horns. So yeah, now I've got another one I'll shove in roughly shape. And then I'll take the hot glue gun here in a minute. And I will, once I get the legs and everything figured out, these I try to force through. And once again, I packed it in a bit too tight. So I just kind of cut them to length and then bend the edges. I think, or is this one, okay. Yeah, so they started, we just kind of shove them in. Sorry, I think I did do that later. Yeah, now we'll start adding more aluminum foil to kind of lock them in a little bit. And like I said, I do go back over and glue it. See how they keep popping out. I end up going back over. Yeah, get them roughly where we want them. Get everything shaped about right. They literally fall over every time I move it. So add a little bit of tape. Get the first one going. All right, here we go. Gonna lock them in. Hot glue gun comes to save the day. Get them all pushed in. Make sure the horns are fairly symmetrical. Another thing I notice is the tape. This tape I'm using doesn't really, like it sticks, but not super well. Really doesn't like sticking to aluminum foil. So when I use it, I have to make sure I loop all the way around so it connects at least with itself. I think next time I'll probably go with blue tape. It costs a little bit more, but I do think it sticks because this is like name brand brown masking tape. Yeah, going in, gluing the legs, a little bit of aluminum foil around it, kind of fill off the thigh. That's right. All right, here we go. I end up turning and bend the edges at least on these. So instead of coming straight from the bottom, they come from the side. So you get those in, get them glued down. Now we're going to trim them all about the size we want, make them a little bit easier to manage. So here we go. Here's just like the last one. I grab my way too wide tape. See, it's not sticking, so I have to go around, kind of secure it on. Yeah, we're going to go with my way too wide tape and give it just a nice, rough cover that way. All right, so this one I didn't cover as much. It's been a few days since I've worked on these. I was debating on doing music in, which I think next set I'll have music in, at least in the background. I'd love to get it where I could have the commentary as one audio and the music as the other to give people a choice, because I do have a few people that say they listen to the music at least while I'm working. Here we go. Just painting on our glue mix, getting our first layer or so of cotton on, filling it in, giving it some base shape. It's getting coverage. Also, I'll do it in the future too, working on my editing of the video, because I really am in this one, because I made them all kind of at the same time, but then I cut them into different segments. Suppose the next one where I'm trying to be just a little bit more or I won't say linear, but maybe it is, but just working them all at once and showing it, even though it does start out with one and it goes on the next one. But yeah, going in, filling in some areas, trying to define at least a little bit of the goat, a little bit more on the back, thicken that up, trying to make sure you can't see like hardly any tape. It does sort of shine through. Yeah. Now look at the sides. Goats are wild creatures. Like they're both kind of cute yet horribly terrifying. Not known for smelling good, known for eating things though. Here you go, under the Bayer. Because with this one, it is kind of like a lumpy potato with a weird front extension. Just filling in, making sure everything gets glued down. Wow. Yep. Next time, I'm gonna have this and music. I'm not gonna do it now because this is the road I've taken, and on this part, I'm gonna just kind of keep traveling it. I do like doing these crafts. My biggest problem is I'll find something and I'll start working on it, and then I'll discover either I'll discover something else right before I actually get it done, or I'll get it and get up to a point where I think I've gotten too good at it, and then I'll move on to something else or I'll get tired with it. So yeah, all right. So we got these long legs. We're just kind of roughly wrapping them and then covering up. And I'll come back in and fill these up a little bit later. I think I'll give him a little bit of a thigh now. Yeah. So yeah, go. It's kind of wide thighs, kind of very triangular legs that go to hooves. And you just got to keep working. This one, at least, I don't think I cut anything off of and started back over. Not to say I won't do it again, but who's to know? I will say on the edges of these, I knit a little bit at times too much, and the legs aren't quite symmetrical as well as I like. Although these work better than some of the other ones I've done. Trying to just make sure all the legs are roughly the same size because you put on the cotton and as you glue over, you will lose a lot of size real quick. We'll drink of water there. I know people love that. See, in this, I didn't put near enough cotton on to begin with. And I think I kind of overcompensate. Yeah, just going on, gluing, glue, 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 cotton, cotton, cotton. And you're learning, you're getting quicker as you do everything. Although, once again, these aren't in the order I necessarily made them. I think this was actually the third one I made. Really should have put the next one, I think the parrot first, but that's what I did. Okay, so now I'm trying to get everything. The legs I kind of like, so I'm going to start doing the antlers. I think I tried for the tail and I just figure out, not antlers, horns. They're horns. They're not just bone. They're bone and blood vessels and other stuff. Yeah, I think on the next one I end up leaving a bit more of a raw edge. I'll come back and cut off later. I end up having another layer of cotton to these anyway. Just kind of thicken them out. I decided these looked a bit thin. One of the ones I definitely need to make for next year, especially the holiday season, I need to do some reindeer. Probably should do some regular deer, I'm sure. People who hunt, or people related to people who hunt, or people who know people who hunt, just suck those up. But yeah, we're just going through, learning, get it all figured out. So you see on this one, I think, there we go. I just laid like a little bit triangle of rough cotton for the tail, glued on the back, and then add a little bit more, kind of seaming it down. Now I have the beard, the goatee, if you will. So yeah, here we go. I'm gonna trim off the horns a bit, kind of reshape the tail. It is a bit scrunched up, but it works out all right. It gives it some character. So go back over some more cotton balls tripped around. Now we'll say with the balls and they're so thin, you'll get these lines at times. I kind of wish I'd taken the time to define them more because they do give the horns that spiraled look animal horns often get. Yeah, just a little bit more glue. Keep moving on, getting the shapes up. Really should have started recording this a little bit earlier, but live and learn. Getting there. I think I'm gonna maybe work on using a separate program in my film editing because I use was it LumaVision or whatever. I don't know, the good one for Apple. And I do like it for editing video. The audio tracks, if you cut them, seem to get off. Although I'm sure it's something I'm doing. I don't realize it. Yeah, all right, here we go. Go around the base of the antlers and the cheeks. Filling his head a little bit. Just painting some on the ground, adding some more in. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm doing ears now. These were fun. These are, well, I think in the future I may be able to do legs because I just went a little bit slower and then just kind of roughly shaped them. And I'm more gluing them on right now, making sure they're fixed. And then later I'll go back on and add some more glue to kind of stiffen them up. Kind of wish I'd waited on the beard, but it looks good. All right, now we moved on. So this is me trying to figure out the hanging point. And then, like I said with the last one, I didn't start with the ring, which eventually I'll remember. So I'm just trying to figure out where it roughly hangs flat. This one isn't as bad, but I go through and I kind of loosen up a spot. And then I take the floral wire and shape it roughly. You see me there, like kind of cutting it at an edge. And even then, man, getting that sucker in there was a bit of a deal. Got my little loop, which this one I actually made one for this guy and then put it on another one. Yes, it's about right. So we're gonna add some glue and so that's good and stuck on. Now that it's all cooled down and dry, I'm gonna go back over with a little bit more cotton, like I said, right there, toughen up, stiffen up the ears, and add some on the back to hide my big blotch of hot glue. Because I do plan on, even though these are the first ones, I will sell these if I can. So here we go. We got our white acrylic. Give Mr. Goat here a real quick brushing. Coat him up as best as we can. Just try to get in all the little spots. Smooth it out some spots. Getting some on the tail. Yeah, you just coat the whole thing with glue. Not glue. Man, I'm starting to get tired. All right. You just got to keep going. I want this video out. I like my Tuesday schedule. I'm going to stick with at least regular. I do in the future want to start having a nightly craft. Need to get another drawing desk or some better way to lay stuff out so I can say work on one of these and then wait for it to dry and then we'll move on and I'll work on a watercolor or some other craft or art thing I have to do. Yeah, see, I'm holding by the needle nose for that thing I put in his back so I can get around him. I'm sure I'll figure out a better way to paint it. I thought about spray paint, but I don't. Like with him with the beard, I don't, and some of the little fuzzy bits, I don't really want to do spray paint because I don't necessarily want to coat it all, cover it all, and mess those up. But we may have to do an experiment, one of the future ones. Yeah, just go through, make sure it's pretty well coated. Nice even colored base coat for the colors we're going to add on top of this. There we go. Yep, just keep going. All right, now we're going to mix up. Well, this is where we started. We got our umber and sienna. Once again, our earth tones. Most goats are kind of earth tony. So, yeah, I'm going to go in, start with the back, up close to the tail, try to get the front. It's a nice even tan. Then we're going to quick over sides and legs. Sort of dry brushing, not quite. Just using kind of loose, quick strokes. Hopes of giving him some definition of fur. And then, yeah, just coat him there. Little by little, leaving some whites on his flanks. His bottom again, or backside. Yeah, we'll go with a little bit darker. Start brushing up from the top. They tend to, you know, start a little bit richer and darker on the top and grade it down. Getting some on his face. I do have few pictures pulled up right now of roughly goat faces I kind of like. Yeah, just throw him down. He'll be all right. Sure, totally fine. Now, all right, now here we're going to go in and we're start adding some real contrast and details. Match him up a little bit closer than what we've seen. So trying to keeping the backside white. I just the way I like it. I guess I like my animal rear ends showy. Now we'll go in with a little bit smaller brush, get inside the ears. This picture I saw, they have fairly dark ears. At least on the inside. And yeah, I'm gonna give him a bit of a stripe front end look. Get the fur and stuff on the back, a little bit in that knit between the tail and the hindquarters. We'll go in and slowly bleed this down. It's nice and relaxing, just kind of painting. Not doing the horns yet, mostly because I need something to hold on to. And two, I'm still at this point not real sure what color I'm going with. Yeah, nice little stripy face. Try to keep it really the face. None of my stuff's come out quite that symmetrical. Still like the look, but dude might have been punched once or twice. All right, here we go on the horns. Yeah, I'm just using the base tan color. So we're going to start, or white. I think I have a little bit of the brown mix in, but yeah, just a little bit of a tan color. Give it a good base. I'll go back, start painting his little hooves. Those nice and black, or I think dark brown's what I went with instead of actual black. Yeah, he eventually gets some black out for his eyes, but I'm painting out. That's where we're going to pull our metallic yellow. This tube's almost empty. Maybe that once again seem to move the camera where, because I don't want you to see it. You don't need to see me paint on that eye hole. Eyeball. There we go. Going in a little bit white around the eye. Add bits of details. A little bit of lighting on the bottom and the top of the horse. Oh, sorry. Another reason I want to start it. I think I'm going to edit the audio in a different program. Is sorry. Earlier when I did this, I cut it, and then it just somehow threw all the audio off. I'm still learning Luma here, but just keep going, add more details, little bits of contrast, and kind of like painting minis for your tabletop games. Add another coat, just trying to keep the lighter colors. I think on top, add some dry brushing and some darker colors in there. Yeah, just build up a nice shade and pattern like you like. See his little yellow eyes. A little bit more on the forehead, define his nose a bit. Add him some more to the flanks and the sides. Even though I think flanks are sides. Yeah, just keep going a little bit, give him some contrast. A little bit of a pattern. So it's just not like an amorphous grayish brown blob. Go down the legs a bit. This is where it really gets there. You start really building some look and character creations on these. There you go, a little bit more black around the eyes, darken it up, make them really pop. And then, yep, give them those straight weird goat pupils. Come back and hit these up again here in a minute. Because I think when I did them that time, yeah, I'm going to repaint the eyes. Make it a little bit more orange. Start going in. One problem with doing this, I think, with these metallics is they kind of tend to be not as opaque. Get the mark his eyes out, give him those, kind of goat eyes. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. These long horizontal pupils. There we go. Paint more stuff where you can't see it. A little bit of black and blue and brown. And now, yeah, all right, here we go. Now this one, fix it. It's black on them. So on the others, I generally will glue it and sprinkle over. This one I just did on his back, top of his horns, his back. Add some more of our glue in the cup. Yeah, here we go. It's gonna more like instead of being covered with glitter, I want it to be more of a snow's falling on the poor dude. Top of the horns. Got our glue on. Move it out of the way, and then spoon, sprinkle on top, dump off the excess. Sprinkle, 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 and there you go. Got a pretty decent looking goat. Look at that handsome fella. And now, the parrot. So straight up, originally this was I think second goose. I was looking at him smaller. I molded him out here with the aluminum foil and the wire and the other stuff, and then he just didn't look right. And I started looking like, this looks more like a parrot. I ended up making one. So this is one of the first, I think this is the second animal I did. First one, once again, does not make the cut. But yeah, just keep working on it. As you work on this sort of stuff, you'll think of more ideas. It'll spread your brain out. Hopefully, it's what it does for me. It starts out like I think it started out. I wanted to make mushrooms. Like I should make little animals. Eventually, I want to make figures of people. I'm getting there. One of my original ideas, I had it for greeting cards. My watercolor prints was I was going to do like Santa Claus companions. Like everybody knows the Krampus. That's the big one. I took French in high school, so we learned about a parrot futard, father beater. There are a bunch of them. There's alternates to Santa besides just Father Christmas and Sinterklaas. There's, what is it, Dead Morans? Can't remember the Slavic Russian version. There's often, I can't remember. There's like a wizard and a witch and a giant farmers. There's a lot out there, you know. You just gotta do things. And I thought it'd be really cool to do, some of those on cards. I'm like, oh, I should do figures. So I think that's something we'll work on in the intermediate. I do want to point out on these legs. These are the first ones. I wrapped them in wire, like this thinner wire and all this stuff to kind of help it stick. And I think it does work. Like gives more grip. I don't know why I quit doing it, but I did. And maybe I'll remember in the future. But yeah, just stab those. I also didn't squish this ball quite as hard. I think I was intentionally trying to be a little bit looser. Making sure that's all packed down. Perfect. See, even at this point, this would have at least worked as a duck. But at some point, so I've got little feet. I pack it down and it kind of goes from a little ducky type shape to a parrot. Yeah, you'll all get to witness this. I think now, yeah, packing it down, making sure everything's kind of spread out where I want it to be. I do remember fighting a bit over these legs as I got set in. Maybe that's why I didn't do the wire. I think I just forgot. All right, so there we go. Get them roughly in shape and position. Now we'll go back over with a little bit, full for the head. Getting that head shape up. So, sweet. Sorry, I'm typing. But yeah, here we go. Shaping the body as we do on the others. I like birds. I like cat. I can't believe I just realized I hadn't done a cat. I paint a lot of cats. I feed like a dozen out that live around my house right now that I need to start scooping up, getting fixed so I can keep this number. Like I've got it too many now. I don't need more. So get them captured. Here we go. Taping up. Early on, this is a lot more of me. I also probably should have put these in the order I kind of made them now that I think about it. But I want to say I changed my mind about halfway on the way I was doing the editing and the layout. So that's what we get. And somewhere in here is where, like, once again, it goes from being like a duck into a parrot. But wrapping them up, making sure I get my hands off out of frame as much as possible. Yeah, working on editing on these is going to be a big deal. Once again, much as I'm learning to make these, I'm learning how to edit. Oh yeah, I had an idea to give him that kind of Wallace and Gromit bird head, where it's like just like a dome with a beak. All right, so here we go. Glue on, wrapping cotton, trying to learn, figure out the best ways and tricks. And yeah, just getting it done. Parrot. My grandmother had a parrot. I remember it being very loud. Parrot's one of those animals that I think would be cool, but also I don't think I'm the person that on them. One, they live forever. Like they live a long, long time. So be prepared to have that forever. And they're smart. They tend to build bonds with people, which is another thing. Like, they'll miss you. It's like if you have one and you just give it away and give your, excuse me, poor parrot abandonment issues. Or if, something worse, you pass away. You're stuck. Who's going to take it then? Like, even I don't have a lot of family, but even you hear about people with kids, it's like, well, who's going to take mom's parrot? It's just, well, he hates me. He hates everybody but her. So, what do you do? Also, in him, I shaped out the beak, I think, a bit more to begin with. Do you like that? Do you have a bit more of a tail? So, yeah, live and learn. Just learn how to do it. Now I'm just kind of rambling on. I'm pretty tired. I'm going to put all this up. I'm not going to stop recording. I'm not going to re-record. You're just going to have to sit here and boggle through me on this one. We'll see what it do. More of the same. Yep. Or no, I do add him a bit more. See, I'm also going back over there. This was all from like over a week ago. So I'm not. Usually I edit and immediately get done, but I want to do the voiceover. So I ordered a microphone that works. And even though I can tell it's still not great, it's better than trying to record it off my iPad or whatever my computer, my laptop has built into it. But I had to wait for it to come in. And I just decided that was what I'm going to do on this one especially. I'm going to do it on the next one too, because I also think what I may start doing is like a one night a week, start streaming. If you have an idea for an app I should live stream on, I'm leaning towards, I'm not going to say once I figure it out, but I have ideas. Okay, by now I figured out he's a parrot. I'm giving him much more of a parrot sort of round beak, building him up. So that's a bit of a neck. Might have also, yeah, no, I was thinking it was a parrot. I still should have done a chicken. I got back into watercolors. One of the first things I painted to try to make stuff out of was a chicken. Just because people around here seem to like that. I don't think I've done much else with them. Yeah, here we go. All right, this is, yeah. So, yeah, this is for the goose. Me kind of figuring out his feet, which just kind of end up like kind of flat, clubby feet. They work, you know. That's what I try to do on the goose too, with smaller ones. Give it some indentions. But, you know, I've learned a lot. I think in the future, if I do more of whatever birds I do more of in the future, we'll end up with better feets. Feetses. Better feet. I guess feet's its own singular style plural. This one did take a minute because I got it to work once and then couldn't do it again. Eventually get it to work out, which is still a problem with some of the stuff I'm doing now. But it's kind of giving him his weird feet. In hindsight, if I'd used like, I've got some black armature wire. I think if I'd used that, I could have just left his feet kind of uncovered. We'll see. Sometimes you just got to keep pushing yourself. That's how you get better. There we go. Oh no, I can't even see him from here. It's in the Christmas tree in the other room. I lived in Hasburg for quite a while and never had a tree. Well, I bought a very, very small, like one of those decorative ones that's like less than a foot, like the kind that are in like the burlap sack bottom, like no lights. And I just covered it with as many lights as I could find, mostly so my mom or sister wouldn't buy me a tree I didn't want, that I didn't have to lug around. So I've lived here for over 20 years at this point, and now it's, you know. And then when I moved to the place I'm in now, I was in I think Home Depot or one of those looking for something. I don't even remember what I maybe just been walking around bored, but they had like a fairly decent looking pre-lit LED Christmas tree, like $35. So 5 feet tall. So I bought it, and then as I've made ornaments and decorations, I just kind of keep decorating. It stays up all year long. Partially because I'm lazy, but it's also kind of display for these things. And I was going to move it and take it down, but it's the only light in the kitchen. Somehow, like my tiny apartment, it's like I've got lamps and stuff in there, but without the giant overhead lamp on it, with just those, it's not bright enough. All right, so here we go. This dude took a little minute. I have another picture of like a parrot type creature. I think it's a parrot. I was looking for the base, even though it doesn't have the body shape for it. Kind of picked a body shape and paint color separately. But just getting it, it did take a little minute. This is another thing with painting is you work on stuff. Sometimes you do have to start over or something, and sometimes maybe just power through. That's kind of what I did with this dude. So I'm using like a metallic blue and I'm mixing it with the metallic. Yeah, once again, all metallics. But it works on these. It really does give them a neat shine. We're making up my own greens, adding bits more of the various blues and bobs. Running low on blue. I'm running low on most of my acrylics. I don't do as acrylic painting as much as I used to. Really been in the watercolors lately. Yeah, just go over, paint him up. Mostly green with some, yellow and blue tints. That's why I got the blue out. He does have like some blue streaks, the one I was looking at. Here we go. Bits of green, lighten him up on his undercarriage. Start getting his legs and his little feet. No, I did get the feet covered. Okay, cool. That's good to sort of remember. And that big front orange or red to yellow or goldish got in on there. I think I ended up painting over a good bit of it. Either around his eyes and I go back and cover them again. A bit more yellow here and there. Not letting it dry, so just kind of soft blends. That often works. And throwing him on the ground. Here we go, mixing up some blue and some dark brown. I do eventually, I think, add in black to really darken it down. It's one of those weird things. And I don't know why for this guy, I didn't really want to use black. Yeah, I'm just painting up his little feet, his beak. Give them a few more coats as we go along before I get the colors right. I also think, yeah, this one has like a white thing around his eyes. Back's been sore lately. Really need to get any match. Here we go. I've added a good bit of black to the blue. It's really darkened down. I'm going to give him some variations of blue on his wings, and I'll go back over, I think, with the green. Kind of thin up those lines. On the back, brighten it up, get some variation. There we go. Got to get any mattress. I got a bed finally. That was the other thing. I haven't had a bed since I moved in here. Just like a mattress on the floor. And it was used and is very quickly going out. All right, so here we go. Pulling it in. I've got I use parchment paper under all this to kind of keep the table. Well, I say clean. I was doing a plaster skull for an art project over Dia de los Muertos. My first idea was to carve out the back. I just ended up making a huge mess. Now I can probably scrub it out, or take it to the car wash, or even work a pressure washer at work, and just get all that plaster off. It is just kind of embedded. Well, it really hadn't been too much of a problem yet. Just one of those things that might be a good idea. Here we go. Retouching up his little chest and that variations. The nice dark blue / black feet. These little white spots around his eyes. I guess I did paint those. And that was it. I don't know, it took me a minute to get them even. Like if you look at him, one eye would be like way higher than the other. Like not even like he's cross-eyed, just like got injured as a child. So here we go. Go in, basic white spots, a little bit of black. I need to get some what is it, dotting tools for doing eyes. I think those will really help out. So, now brush up the beak side. I don't really want it blue. I want them black. Looks better. Maybe a little bit of blue highlight. Yeah, just a little bit at the time. Keep working on it until it looks good. It's gonna be horrible. So there you go. One blue dot or one black dot, one black dot, a little bit more right. And here we go. We'll let him dry for about a day. Coat him with white glue. Then we're gonna spoon on a little bit more of the sugar. A little bit of sugar there. So everybody wants to see the sugar. Get him all sparkly. I do think once I have quite a lot of glitter, and I get glitter is not necessarily just loose microplastics. Once I run out of glitter, I'm gonna probably switch to micro. There we go. There's our friend the parrot. He ended up really good. And finally, we have the flamingo. This was a last minute idea. I had other ideas, various other creatures, and then for some reason I just decided to do a lawn flamingo. Yeah, I didn't even do a real one. Tried a few things out. I think I cut out most of the stuff where I went through various renovations. Even this the wire up there you see, yeah, that's not gonna last. And then I said, all right, we'll just cut the body out full as like a flat basis. So somebody did is it reindeer or is it a rocking horse? They use like a cardboard thing for it. But I just went with loom foil because I'm crazy. So yeah, now we stretch out the basic shape for legs. Mark, I clip those off. That's how I want them. Get them a little bit more straightened. And then I'll make our loop, which I think I'll make this one huge. That I did the goose one was way too small. This one honestly is probably too big. But yeah, lay that on our real kind of rough drawing out. Go over, stretch it almost like a hook or an anchor. Get everything worked in. There we go. Smooth out the curves a bit. Then figure out where I want it. Mark it. Clip. Get everything to size. Now what we're going to do is okay. So I use hot glue. And I kind of press these layers together with hot glue. I do take a minute. I make his little head. I got the hot glue coming. Little beady head. And these are weird looking creatures all around. Yeah, a bit of hot glue, and then I'll lay in the main wire, like the legs and the back of the neck. And then I'll just start pressing on. Yeah, it's hot. I've got a hot glue gun. Get the head glued down, glue in all these layers of full. And so yeah, I've got him pretty covered. Now what I'm gonna do, well, it's 4 or 5, however many layers. Now I'm gonna start shaping the body out of full. I did do this one a good bit different. And I probably should do more of them like this. Yeah, here we go. We're just gonna make a rough shape and lay it on. Figure that out till it fits the basic body shape. I would say at this point, I was like, man, I could have done an ostrich or maybe an emu, like emu. Well, I said emus are weird looking birds, man. So of course, most birds are, but these tall, leggy ones with necks. Don't get me wrong, ostriches are kind of weird looking, but emus are weird looking. So are flamingos. They're like tiny little heads and all beak. They're long legs. But anyway, push it to shape. Or I don't. Yeah, flamingos aren't red-eyed. Like they fly. I think that's the thing that keeps them out. But yeah, okay, get him shape. He ends up being a little bit thicker, but it ends up being okay. It ends up really working. So here you go. You get to see me cut tape. Try not to cut my fingers. I think now I cut even thinner. Yeah, because I've got a whole roll. I just hadn't been to a store to get some. So next time I'm at a store that has it, I will have to remember to look for masking tape. Just go by the auto. Oh well, no, I go the uh, hardware store. That's it. Go to one of the Home Depot or Lowe's. They'll have it. I don't know why I didn't think of it that way. Just the brain bouncing around. Glad we're on the last animal. I'm getting really tired. But this is the first time, you know? This will get easier as we go along. Also, I put in music so I can just stop talking and wander off for a while. Go look around the house where the video plays. Then record it on another thing. I have to look up that. This offers it. And a lot of times, the pre-building features for the most part, Lemon here I've really enjoyed, but something about, like I said, the audio sounds okay for the mic I got, but sounds once again better than it did just off the iPad. But it's the editing thing. I don't know. I'll just have to practice. Much like doing these, I'll just have to practice to learn how to do it more. You can even see another reason I should have done these in the order I made them. You could get a better look as how I've improved as I've gone over. But yeah, tape it on, laying out stretch, trying to cover up the whole body. Go in one direction as we pull it. We'll go the neck. I know we get undercarriage. Around there. This one doesn't have real legs. This is very much more of a lawn flamingo sort of look. And we'll do some thinner stuff and start working our way forward. Like they don't have very thick necks. It's kind of weird. Like geese sort of do. There's, in my opinion, more truncate out into the neck. But even real flamingos don't. Once again, since we're going towards the lawn flamingo, but yeah, add a bit around, wrap it, tape it. I I love blow molded stuff. It's a thing of. I used to have lawn gnomes. I used to have a job when I was much younger where I made way too much money for somebody of my age. I like the way I did just kind of twirl and trick that beak into being. But I'd make way too much money, and then I would go out and drink too heavily. And then on my way home, I'd stop by usually like a Walgreens or CVS and buy way too much like cheese balls and all this horrible food. And then for a while, they always had like lawn gnomes and flamingos and just sculpture. And I would just buy random stuff. Like I would buy, was it one time I was there and they had these horrible mirrored motion sound clocks. And I mean, they were cheap looking, like they were not cool or pleasant. All right, so here we're going to take a break from this story. I'm doing the pink. I think this is it straight. I think it was a bit more fluorescent neon pink than the flamingos really are. So I'll end up dulling it down as I add coats. I think I add some white, maybe a little bit of brown or something, but base coat of pink. There we go. I don't think I gave this one a base coat of white. I think I just went right to pink. The cotton ended up saying fairly white on this one. Anyway, so I bought these horrible clock. Like they were wild. So like they had one set of batteries that controlled it was lighted back like a window that so it made the water kind of look like it was moving. But it didn't really look like that. And then the clocks are just these inset bezel clocks. So they were a second thing. And then when you turn off the noise, I think it was supposed to sound white water, but it just sounded like static. It's like, oh, it was rough. All right, so here we go. We're going to add another layer of pink. I think originally I wanted a dry brush, and then I decided, no, they're just not the right shade of pink. This is a lot lighter. Comes out a bit less bright, like more of a dull. Somehow adding the white. Yeah. Another coat. That's, this is all sped up. I'll say that. I think 600 times speed. I'm not this quick, but hard. And then I gave them to various friends who would randomly return them because those are the sort of jokes you play on your friends. You give them gifts that you know they won't like, and they stick them on your porch. Of course, also one of these friends I did it to would steal mine. I also had several lawn gnomes, and he would lawn gnome me. He would steal my lawn gnome and go on these trips around the country. Of course, the best part, I didn't even notice because they just lived in the yard. It wasn't like I bought them and I'd had too much money and drink. And then I'd, just have them in the yard hanging out like, because they're lawn gnomes. And then he would come back, because this is a little bit before cell phones were quite as smartphone or even sending pictures to people as much as it is. But then come home and he'd build these slideshows and show me my gnome had gone to all these places. I thought it was right. I had red to it. That's what brought it down. Less fluorescent, more of a flamingo pink. But yeah, like I think I went to like the Jack Daniels Brewery in Notre Dame and a bunch of places. It was great. I wanted to get back into lawn gnomes, but the ones like I got, painting the black for the eyes, and then you got to do the beak is a good bit of black, and I think there's some orange or yellow around the top part. But I take my gnome off, all those other wild adventures that I never went on. Even, of course, it's also at some point in there, it went from me working at a job where I made a lot of money to not having that job and working another one. All right, here we go. I'm wiping off the stems, the leg parts. They got a bunch of pink paint. I actually like the color of the wire for this project. There we go. Clean those off. Clean the pink I got off. The other ones I don't think I have. I just let the color set. That's the color it is. Get that all wiped, and here we go. It's time for, once again, we're getting on the last one. Coating it white glue. And then randomly forgetting and leaving this brush out. Luckily, I hadn't totally killed it. I did need to remember to spray the yep, spinning on the glitter. There we go. There's nice. This one must snow more just sparkly, beautiful flamingo. There he is. Mr. Flamingo. All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this or didn't or whatever, just let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of what I've done. I think we'll have to go back to having some music in the background. I may actually try to start scripting these. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram. Next time I'll remember to have the blue sky. Be seeing you.